This looks like any other Russian city, right? People going to work, kids heading to school, traffic jams during rush hour, coffee shops, shopping malls, and university students hurrying to class. Except in the winters, it can get to minus 60 degrees Celsius here. And the ground, well, it's frozen solid for a few hundred meters. And car engines, well, they haven't been turned off in months. And if you get exposed to the cold, you can get frostbite in mere minutes. Welcome to Yakutsk, Russia, and officially the coldest major city on Earth. This video will highlight the story of how humans have not just survived, but built a thriving, modern city in conditions that should make human habitation almost impossible. While most of humanity clusters around temperate coastlines and warm valleys, the people of Yakutsk have created something unprecedented, a large-scale urban experiment in the limits of human adaptation, and their solutions to extreme living might just hold lessons for cities everywhere. And as always, this is Ali, and welcome back to Urban Atlas. Truthfully, Yakutsk shouldn't exist. Founded in 1632 by Russian Cossacks as a fur trading post, it began as a small fort on the Lena River. The location was chosen for strategic reasons, primarily to control river trade routes. But even before that, this location was home to the Sakha people, which migrated to the area during the 13th and 14th century. The city sits at 62 degrees north latitude, about 450 kilometers south of the Arctic Circle. It's surrounded by over 1 million square kilometers of taiga forest and tundra. The nearest major city, Irkutsk, is 2,000 kilometers away, and Moscow, well, that's over 8,000 kilometers away. The city is located on the Sakha Republic, which is the largest federal subject of Russia by area. It's also known as Yakutia, with Yakutsk being the largest city in the Sakha Republic with a population of over 350,000 people. And like I mentioned previously, the climate here defies comprehension. Winter temperatures regularly drop to minus 50 degrees Celsius, with records reaching minus 64 degrees Celsius. That's cold enough to freeze mercury solid. While other extremely cold locations are small research stations or tiny settlements, Yakutsk is a full-scale modern city with universities, theaters, shopping centers, and high-rise apartments. But that begs the question, why is Yakutsk so cold? Well, there are several reasons for this. Firstly, Yakutsk sits deep in the interior of Siberia. That's far away from the moderating effects of the ocean. Coastal areas stay warmer in the winter because oceans retain heat. But Yakutsk, well, it's located more than 1,600 kilometers from the nearest sea. Second is the city's high latitude. Because of this, Yakutsk receives very little sunlight during the winter months. The sun barely rises above the horizon, and for much of the winter, daylight only lasts a few hours. Additionally, the city's topography also helps it stay quite cold. You see, Yakutsk lies in the Lena River Valley, where cold air settles and gets trapped, creating temperature inversions that make surface temperatures even colder. And then there's the permafrost, the permanently frozen ground beneath the city. This helps create a feedback loop where cold conditions persist. Another factor is the wind. Cold air masses from the Arctic regions can descend into this area, further lowering temperatures. And all of these factors combine to help create an environment that makes Yakutsk colder than any other major city. Every single aspect of urban life has to be reimagined when you're building on permanently frozen ground in temperatures that can kill you in minutes. How do you run water pipes when water freezes? How do you construct buildings when the ground never thaws? And how do you keep 350,000 people warm, fed, and connected to the outside world? Well, the answer lies in some of the most innovative urban planning solutions ever developed, born from necessity and refined over centuries of adaptation to the impossible. To understand Yakutsk urban planning challenges, we need to start with the ground itself. The permafrost here extends hundreds of meters. This permanently frozen soil has been solid for thousands of years. Now, if you're not a civil engineer, you'd probably think that ice doesn't really make a big difference when it comes to construction. But permafrost is incredibly unstable when it comes to temperature changes. Heat it up even slightly and it becomes a soggy, unstable mess that can't support the weight of a building. This is why every major building in Yakutsk is standing on stilts. Here's how it works. The building is elevated on concrete or steel pillars, creating an air gap between the heated structure and the ground. Early Soviet planners didn't really understand this. In the 1950s and 60s, they built standard concrete apartment blocks directly on the ground. And within a few years, these buildings began sinking, tilting, and cracking as the permafrost beneath them melted and refroze in cycles. Modern Yakutsk construction is a marvel of cold weather engineering. The utilities here present their own challenges. Water and sewer pipes can't be buried underground like in normal cities, they'd freeze solid. Instead, Yakutsk uses above-ground utilidors, insulated tunnels that carry water, steam, and sewage throughout the city. These utilidors require constant maintenance and heating to prevent freezing. The city operates massive central heating plants that not only warm buildings but keep the entire utility infrastructure from turning into ice. Many of the buildings in Yakutsk actually use hot water from pipes to help heat the building, while some buildings actually rely on coal heating systems. It's an energy-intensive solution, but it's the only way to maintain modern urban services in these conditions. And getting around in Yakutsk in the winter is unlike anywhere else on Earth. At -40, car batteries die, tires become brittle, and metal becomes so cold it can burn exposed skin on contact. And this is why many cars in Yakutsk never turn off during winter months. And the city's public transportation system, well, that's pretty epic. They use buses designed specifically for Arctic conditions. These aren't your typical city buses, they're essentially rolling bunkers with multiple heating systems, specialized tires, and engines that can start in conditions that would kill normal vehicles. And the bus stops, well, they're quite innovative. Most of them are sheltered and heated, and have sockets for recharging your phones, TVs, as well as free Wi-Fi. One of Yakutsk's most unique transportation feature is the Lena River itself. You see, in the winter, this massive river freezes to a depth of several meters, becoming a natural highway. Essentially, this is an ice road that can support fully loaded freight trucks weighing 40 tons or more. And when the conditions are right, the river becomes a superhighway connecting communities that would otherwise be isolated. And Yakutsk Airport, well, it's a critical lifeline, operating year-round in conditions that would shut down most other airports. Aircraft require special cold weather modifications. Hangars are constantly heated, and fuel systems use additives to prevent freezing. Landing in Yakutsk during a winter storm is considered one of the most challenging operations in commercial aviation. And for pedestrians, a winter in Yakutsk is a serious survival situation. Exposed skin can get frostbite in under 5 minutes. And thus, people wear multiple layers, often traditional fur clothing over modern synthetic materials. Like other cities in northern Russia and Siberia, many of the buildings are painted in bright colors in the belief that it helps to fight depression when the sun is hibernating and to navigate the streets in conditions of heavy fog. Now, due to the extreme cold temperature, Yakutsk faces a very unique problem. You see, in the summer months, the city is full of dust. That's because Yakutsk has very dry air, lots of dirt roads, and little greenery. Because the climate is such that many plants cannot even take root, so efforts are focused on preserving existing trees. Felling trees in Yakutsk is actually prohibited. Now, despite the brutal exterior conditions, life inside Yakutsk is surprisingly normal. In fact, the city is actually growing, with recent estimates stating that the city now has a population of 372,000 residents, up 5% from the 2021 number. Food systems in Yakutsk are uniquely adapted to the environment as well. The extreme cold acts as natural refrigeration, and many people store food outside in the winter, knowing it will stay perfectly preserved. Fresh vegetables and fruits are indeed a challenge though. Everything has to be imported during the brief summer months or grown in heated greenhouses year-round. Some residents have embraced hydroponic growing systems in their apartments, creating indoor gardens that provide fresh produce during the long winter months. Now, because of its continental location, summer temperatures can exceed 30 degrees Celsius, and days can be sunny, warm. However, the summers are still quite short, meaning Yakutsk has some of the largest seasonal temperature differences, with the lowest temperature recorded at -64.4 degrees Celsius and the highest temperature recorded at 38.4 degrees Celsius. This is a massive range, a temperature difference of over 102 degrees. Now, you might be wondering why anyone would choose to live in such an extreme city. Well, the answer actually lies beneath the permafrost. Diamonds, lots of them. The Sakha Republic, in which Yakutsk is the capital, produces about 25% of the world's diamonds. Additionally, there's also coal and gold located here. Alrosa, which is one of the largest diamond mining companies in the world, has a strong presence in and around Yakutsk. The company operates several massive mines in the region, including the famous Mir mine. And these diamond mines provide high-paying jobs that attract workers from across Russia and beyond. And the mining industry of diamonds, gold, and coal has transformed Yakutsk from a remote frontier town into a surprisingly wealthy city. And the wealth from this mining has also funded education and research. The Northeastern Federal University in Yakutsk has become a center for Arctic research. This university is also a pioneer in permafrost research, as well as cold climate engineering, investigating and solving problems associated with construction on permafrost. Ironically, the world's coldest city may be facing its biggest threat from rising temperatures. Average temperatures in Yakutsk have risen by about 3 degrees Celsius over the past 50 years, which might not sound like much, but it's causing major problems. These higher temperatures means that the permafrost that Yakutsk is built on is becoming less stable. Additionally, because of these rising temperatures, the Sakha Republic is facing increased amount of wildfires. In addition, many of the winter roads of the Sakha Republic now face milder and shorter winters, meaning the sustainability of these winter roads is now declining. Many indigenous communities rely on these winter roads for their survival. In a way, Yakutsk has become a living lab for studying climate change impact on Arctic cities. And thus, Yakutsk's solutions for life in an extreme environment may offer lessons for other cities. In a way, Yakutsk challenges everything we think we know about cities and human habitation. It proves that with ingenuity, adaptation, and community cooperation, humans can create thriving urban environments in extreme places. Because the over 350,000 people who call this city home aren't just surviving, they're building careers, raising families, creating art, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And of course, if you like content like this, remember to give this video a like, and let me know in the comments below if there's a city you have in mind that you'd like me to explore. This channel recently crossed 40,000 subscribers, and I'd like to say a heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you, and a special thank you to the OG followers. The success of this channel wouldn't be possible without you guys. Moving forward, I'm gonna lock in even harder and try to make even better content. I have a lot more stuff coming on the way, so stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.